Hi, I'm Sean Tynan from Advisors Living Real Estate with the Homeward Bound Group, and I'm here today with
Michelle Oates.
And Michelle Oates is the manager of my office. She's my second manager, and then my fifth manager. Michelle's agreed to sit down with us today and talk a little bit about when's a good time to sell a house, what's the myth of selling in the spring. So we're just going to sort of cover a little bit of that, and hopefully she's got one or two stories she can tell, and I know I've got at least one or two weird home sales that we can bring into it. Michelle, thank you so much for coming by today. I do have a hard time getting people to get in front of the camera, and I know this wasn't your favorite thing to do today.
Not so much, but I'm here.
All right. When is the best time to sell?
So, most people think that the time to sell is the spring market. We've been hearing about the spring market forever and ever. It's the time when everybody's buying and selling. And so homeowners think that they should wait, and usually it's May or even June that they think is the right time to put their home on the market. Part of the reason for that is that their home looks best, right? The grass is green, the perennials are blooming, and that's when people think is the right time to attract a buyer to their property. The reality is that if you look at the data, that's not the best time to sell. The best time to sell your house is really sometime in January through around the end of April. And the reason for that, you know, Sean.
There's nobody else selling their house because they all think they're supposed to sell in the spring.
Exactly. Real estate is all about economic supply and demand. And the more supply there is, the more houses buyers have to choose from, the less they're willing to pay for yours. So if you can list your home at a time when there's very little on the market, you are in great shape. No, you can't price your house completely unrealistically.
Well, you
but
can
if
never
you price it right.
Honestly, you can't just go crazy at price. You have to list your house, and we've said this 1,000 times, at or just below market. And honestly, just below market is where you want to list it because you're going to bring in those multiple buyers. Yep. And those buyers are out there right now. These are the people who couldn't find anything in the summer, couldn't find anything in the fall. They're rolling in past Thanksgiving. They're like, there's nobody doing anything, but I still want to buy a house. You have an example?
Absolutely.
June, of anything that happened recently?
Right.
June.
So we actually had a house go on the market over the weekend, and a lot of not just sellers, but even agents say to me at this time of the year, someone just said yesterday, someone wants to sell their house, should I tell them to wait until after the new year or wait until March or April? Absolutely not. So we just put a house in Methuen on the market, a house that needs some work. We put it on the market for $450, which is a pretty compelling price in this market. Late last week, we had 82 showings. We had 12 offers.
She had 82 showings in like 4 days.
Yes, absolutely. It was just sort of around the clock. Agents
I was
coming
3
in
of
and
them.
out. Yep. Right, 12 offers. It is under agreement. It is a cash offer. It has no contingencies. It's a fantastic price. And there was no problem with doing that in December. Yes, people are out holiday shopping, but when they see value, they immediately call their agent and they come and see the house.
And I literally had the same thing happen last year. It was last year. We had a lead on a house. It was a house that somebody else tried to sell previously in the year. They were unable to sell it, and they listed it in the spring. They had the flowering, they had the photography, they had everything all set, but they couldn't sell the house. Either it was the wrong agent, the wrong marketing, just something wasn't right and they weren't selling it. They let that agent go. They gave us a call in, I want to say it was November, December, and they said, look, we want to sell our house, we want to sell it in the spring. And we're like, we don't have to wait till the spring. If you're ready to move now, let's spend a few weeks, get your house ready, and get it listed. I believe we listed it in January before the snow actually hit the ground. And I do say, if there's 2 feet of snow on the ground, maybe that might not be the best time, but it still could be. But we got ready to list that house, and I'll be honest, it snowed 4 days before we were doing photography. So we were out there with shovels, plowed the driveway, shoveled out the back. There was still some snow on the roof, but we were able to still get really good photography. We listed that house, and we listed it for more than the other person failed to sell it at. They had done multiple price drops. We listed it, and because there was nothing else on the market, there was no competition, we got 4 or 5 offers on, I think we only had about 40 showings throughout the open houses and private showings on the weekends, and went over asking, went that first week. I mean, this can be a really good time to sell your house.
Yeah, this is what happens. So January starts, and I think buyers say, hey, let's buy a house this year. And they immediately, as soon as people get that in their mind, they start to look. They go online, they look for houses, they go to open houses or have their agent show them property. There's so little coming on the market that every property that is on the market gets a lot of activity. So let's say you have a well-priced house that comes on the market in late January. Maybe it gets 7 offers, it goes way over asking price. 6 of those buyers lost out, and they're disappointed and they're upset, and now they've got the bug. They've got to buy a house. So when the next house comes on the market, those 6 buyers are now coming in higher than they did the last time, plus a few new ones. Usually when we've seen the craziest bidding wars, I would say most often they've been March. March is a big one, March or maybe April, because now we have buyers who have lost. They've been losing houses for the last few months, and at some point there's going to be one buyer for every property that says, that's it, I'm not losing again, and they try to top everybody else. So that is how we see prices really being driven up in the spring market. But there's a day, and I usually think it's like somewhere in the middle of May, there's a day where there's enough inventory. You start to see more and more listings. And when that happens, all of a sudden I think of buyers like deer in the headlights. All of a sudden they have choices and they think, well, if I lose this one, there are more coming next week. And that's when the market starts to balance out. So is it a bad time to sell? No, but you've missed that perfect opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, I had somebody recently, they wanted to list their house in the spring. They wanted late spring. They were trying to shoot for June. They picked a date and they weren't ready. We listed the house because they wanted to list the house, and we could have used, I'd say, another 3 or 4 weeks. We probably could have had the house in much better shape. That house sat. The house wasn't ready to sell. Honestly, if we had taken that house and pushed it off another 6 months, listed it in the fall or early winter, the house would have been showing better and would have probably sold very, very quickly at a higher price than we eventually did sell it for. It's more important that you're ready, the house is ready, not so much that it's spring.
Right. Yeah. Exactly, because your home, maybe the flowers haven't bloomed, maybe the grass is brown, but so is the competition. So it's always relative to everything else.
There is no bad time to sell. There's the best time for your house to sell.
Yep.
God, I sound cheesy when I say that.
It's the truth.
All right, Michelle, thank you so much.
Thank you, Sean.
Appreciate you taking, was it 10 minutes? I thought you were going to give me an hour, but
Felt like an hour.
I'll take what I can get. If anybody has any questions about, can I list my house this winter? Should I list this house this winter? Or what things I need to get done with my house so we can sell it for the most money and as fast as possible, don't be afraid to reach out.